Hello, Java Challenger. We are here again in this live session. And today I'm going to be talking about how to know your market value as a Java developer. In other words, what salary can you ask for the companies? So I always neglected negotiation in my career, and it was a big mistake because I always lost through the negotiation process. And the thing is that because of my neglecting, developers who were joining after me in the company, they were earning a lot more than me. They were earning the double, the triple, or the quadruple. So it was a big mistake from my side that I was only focusing on the technical side of the thing, and I was completely neglecting negotiation skills. And just to let you know, I'm going to run this live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. London time. So I am going to share with you valuable tips for intermediate and senior Java developers who want to work on a stress-free project and earn top salaries. Okay, so like I said, it's a big mistake to focus on the technical side and forget negotiation skills. And one of the most important parts of the negotiation is to know how much you should earn. Because if you don't know how much you should earn, then the company has a vast advantage over you. And you can't really do anything about that. So let's explore here some of the platforms that will help you to find how much you should earn as a developer. So the first one, you probably know, it's Glassdoor. The problem with Glassdoor is that for some reason, you're going to find the salaries something around 20% less or 30% less. So it's not very accurate. Maybe because developers lie in their salaries. I don't really know why, but it's not that reliable. So let's have a quick look here at Glassdoor. Let's see the example here. How much does a senior Java developer makes in Ireland? So here it's saying that a developer in Ireland makes something around 57k euros to 78k euros a year. And that's not accurate. This is something around 30% or 20% less than what really the market is offering. So this rate is really doesn't reflect the market in real life. But it's good to at least look here at the Glassdoor. For example, let's see, senior Java developer. Let's see in New York. So again, this is not actually very accurate because in New York, you can earn more than that as a senior Java developer. But you see, it changes a lot from country to country. So if you're living in New York, you're going to earn at least a double as what you earn in Europe, for example. So keep that in mind because first thing, in Glassdoor, the salary is not accurate. And secondly, the salaries vary a lot from country to country. And there are other ways to find your salary. So as you can see here, there is Indeed. So Indeed is another way to find what salary you should be earning now. So if we have a quick look here, Indeed. So for example, here I think you have something more accurate, but they put some restrictions here. If you want to apply for a job where your salary is a bit higher, then you have to pay for the premium membership, and it might be worth it because you're going to earn potentially more. But as you see here, the salaries are much higher. So you can click here. You can see you can only apply for this job if you have the membership. But at least here you can see more accurate salaries. So this is what they pay in average for Ireland. But they don't seem to say here what is the company exactly. So yeah, you can check on Indeed as well. So I want to go through all of them, but let's check here the other platform. So you can also find out your salary through Reddit. So Reddit is more accurate because on Reddit, people don't review who they are actually, who they actually are. So people will just say their salaries. If you say here, what is the salary of a senior Java developer in Reddit? Yeah, so even AI will help you here. So as I said, here at Glassdoor, if we go back to Dublin, so it's saying here that the salary of a senior Java developer is something between 57K to 78K. But that's not really the case, because if you go here to Reddit, you're going to see that it's a lot more. And I can also confirm that because I live in Dublin and I know the salary is something around 80K to 120K. So don't fully trust on Glassdoor because the salary there, unfortunately, is not accurate. But if you look at Reddit, it's pretty accurate. So you can have a look here at what people are discussing, and you're going to find something that is more real. And you can find a salary for any kind of job. Let's suppose you are in South America and you want a job, a remote job. So if you're in South America, let's see, what is the salary of a Java developer working in South America for US remote job? Reddit. We didn't find a very good post here, but I can tell you that it's something around 4,000 per month to $6,000 per month. And really, for a South American country, this is pretty good. You can have a pretty high life quality earning this salary. This salary in the US is a very low salary. Must be difficult to live there with this salary, but if you're living in South America, it could be potentially the same as a high salary in the US. Like you could have a potentially equal life quality as it would have in the US because things in South American countries are cheaper than you would have in the US or other countries. So have to keep that in mind. And there is also another way to find a salary range in some locations on LinkedIn. So let's check here. I'll show you. So let's see. Let's check here. Jobs. So if we check for jobs, let's see, Java. So you can look for salary here as well. So you can, for example, choose 200K plus. I have 0. Let's see, 160K plus. Let's, instead of senior, let's just put Java so that we can improve here our search. So you see, you can find how many? More than 1,000 companies where you would earn more than 200K in Florida. So you can see many nice companies like Netflix. You can see Oracle. So there are many good positions here, even on GitHub, HubSpot. So you can have a really high salary in the US. So that's pretty good. You can even choose if you want a remote job. So you can find there is more than 1,000 positions, which is really good. It doesn't mean that you can live in South America. I'm not sure about that, but you might have to live in the US. But still, like, it's pretty good salary. There is Toast, there is Confluent, Yahoo, Upstart. So there are some specific places where you can find salaries on LinkedIn. New York's the same thing. So let's check here. Doesn't need to be exactly, let's choose all of them here, remote, on-site, and hybrid for New York. And you can see that the salary is pretty high in New York. So you can see here something close to 400K a year. And you can be sure that they will also pay stocks for you. So yeah, they pay a lot of money. There's also this website, Levels.fyi. And here you can look, let's check here. For example, in Dublin, let's put Dublin. So to unlock the other salaries, you have to add your salary. But you see, the salary is pretty good. Like you would earn $15K a month in Amazon. And on Workday, you would earn something around 14K a month. So this is just another option to see how much you could potentially earn as a senior Java developer. There are other websites like PayScale, Stack Overflow as well, but we don't need to go and check all of them now. Okay, there are those platforms. So there is also the brute force technique. And this is a very interesting technique because you can find out how much you can ask for a company. Once you have an idea of how much you can ask, then you can use the brute force technique. And what is technique? So basically, you apply for a job, and when they call you to do an interview, then you simply throw a very high salary. And then you see what they will answer you. If they tell you, okay, that's good, we can move on with the salary, then very good. But if that doesn't happen, it means that it's too much. So the brute force technique is very useful to feel the market. So basically you apply for some jobs and then you throw them a number and say, hey, that's how much I want you are. Based on your research, based on your skills, your years of experience, and everything you've done in your career, then you apply for this job, and basically you just throw your salary up sky. And you see what happens. Like they might say, oh, that's too much. The salary range is actually this one. Can we work with that? And then you answer them if you can work with that or not. It would be a problem if you don't negotiate and then you allow the company to dictate your salary. And that's what happens with most Java developers. I know that because I've seen, like by talking with many Java developers, I know that they don't know how to negotiate. And then what it usually happens is that they negotiate a lowball salary, a very low salary, because they allow the companies to just say, hey, that's how much you should earn. And then because they got, I don't know, maybe 10% more than their current job or 15% more, they get happy and they move to another job. But that's actually not a good strategy, right? So that's why it's important to know how much you should earn before applying for a job. Otherwise, you're going to be in disadvantage because think about it. A company negotiates salaries every day and you negotiate a salary once a while when you change jobs. Like this would be in average in 2 to 2 years. That's the time a developer stays in a company in average, something around 2 years. So you are in a huge disadvantage. So if you don't negotiate enough and if you don't focus your studies to learn more about negotiation, you're going to always lose the negotiation process. And when you lose the negotiation process, you're going to earn a lot less. You're going to leave money on the table. So what is the other technique? This technique I use a lot because it's the easiest. And the thing is your mindset. So you can't have a mindset where you treat your salary as a taboo. So your mindset has to be the opposite. So you have to see salary as something normal, and you have to know how much your close friends are earning. Obviously, if they are developers, right? Obviously, if they are in a similar position than you, if they are less experienced than you, maybe, yes, could be sometimes useful to ask your friend on their salary, but it's actually better if you can ask someone who has a similar position than you, because then you can have a better idea. You can either find out that you are an underpaid developer, you can find out that your salary is actually good. It's actually rare in most cases, or you can find out that your salary is actually high. Actually, this is unlikely because if you find out your salary is high, it's because probably you already know how to negotiate. But if you don't know how to negotiate, you are very likely an underpaid Java developer because you didn't take the work to learn more about negotiation. And don't feel guilty if you never did anything regarding negotiation, because I myself also didn't care about anything else that wasn't technical. But then, after years of experience, I started learning that negotiation is a very important pillar for my career progression. So I need to know how much I should earn. I need to ask my friends what are their salaries. And the good thing about asking a close friend about their salaries is that you don't need to make a fancy question. You don't need anything complicated. You can simply ask them directly, hey, what's your salary? Yeah, it's that easy. If your friend doesn't have like a very crazy mindset that he or she can't reveal their salaries, it's very likely that they will tell you what's their salaries. And then you're going to understand if you are an underpaid developer or not. And if you are an underpaid developer, it's a very good discovery because you know that you can ask a lot more in your next salary negotiation, right? So just ask directly your close friend how much they earn, and then you might be surprised because you might be an underpaid Java developer. And this happened with me. I was in a job back in Brazil, and new developers were joining the company, and they were earning a lot more than me. And then a friend of mine told me, "Here, Rafael, look at this guy. He's earning," he said his salary, and like it was almost the triple of what I was earning. And then I noticed that technical skills itself, it doesn't really help too much to earn more money. So why they were earning a lot more money than me? Because they were a lot better in negotiation than me. So it makes a big difference, like the double, the triple, the quadruple. So that's why, unfortunately, sometimes, unfortunately or fortunately, because now you know, but sometimes developers don't earn what they deserve. They earn what they negotiate. So this is kind of sad from one side, but it's also very good news for you because now you know that the negotiation is an important part of your career and you can learn more about how to negotiate your salary. Obviously, when you're negotiating, there are other things that come across, such as your confidence, your mindset. So there are lots of other things that obviously will impact your negotiation process. And you can also ask a developer that you're not very close with. So what do I mean by that? So sometimes there will be a developer in the company I'm working for where you admire him or her, and you would like to know how much this developer in this position is earning. Then it's a bit different. When it's a developer that is not that close to you, you can't ask directly this developer. So instead, you have to say something on that line. So you can tell him or her, hey, I admire the work you do in your position, and I aspire to reach a similar role someday. I'm currently making plans like buying a house, and to help with my planning, I was wondering if you could share the typical salary range for someone in your position. So asking that way is nice because first you don't ask the salary of the person directly, and you give this person a very good reason, which is that you want to get promoted to his or her position, and you're also planning to buy a house. So this is a very good reason to try to find out the salary of this developer. So it's very likely that this developer will tell you the salary range, and he might tell you something around 10% less of his or her actual salary, which is fine. Like it could be that he will put a little bit down his or her salary, but that's okay. You're going to have an idea and you're going to know like somewhat what is their salary. And there is a more sophisticated way to tell your coworker. So you can say, hello, coworker. I really admire the work you do in your position, and I hope to reach a similar role someday. I'm currently planning my career growth and working towards some personal goals, like buying a house. To help me better understand and prepare for the next steps, would you mind sharing the typical salary range for someone in your role? I completely understand if you'd prefer not to share, but any guidance would be greatly appreciated. So I don't really think we need to do such a complicated statement. I think the simple one would work. So basically, you say you admire his or her position, and you also tell them that you want to reach a similar position in the future. You are making plans for buying a house, and you would highly appreciate if they could share the salary range for someone in his or her position. And since you're not asking directly their salaries, they are highly likely to share a salary range with you. So this should be fine. You should be able to figure out what is the salary range from someone in that position you admire. So you can also go to tech events and meetups. And maybe it's easier on tech events and meetups because you're going to meet people who you might, you know, who don't really have anything to hide. Like it's okay if you meet a developer on the conference and you can just give them a good reason. You can say, hey, I'm really working on my negotiation skills. And you told me that you are a tech lead or an architect. You can use the same line used here because, when you're talking with someone who is not actually close to you, you have to give them a good reason to ask them their salaries. Otherwise, they're unlikely to share with you. So give them a good reason, go to tech events and meetups, ask the salary of developers because, you can give them many reasons. You can give the reason that you want to improve with your negotiation skills. You can give them many good reasons to share their salaries with you. So use the same technique as you would use in your job here and go to tech conferences because it will help you to expand your knowledge and you're going to know more technology as well as you go to events. So the other technique is to reach out to recruitment agencies. So for example, you could go to LinkedIn here. You could write Hayes and you can follow them and you can simply send a message to them. So basically here you can look for the jobs they have here and, you can connect with people from Hayes as well. And you can ask them if they have an available job. So you just talk with them because they're looking for you. They're looking for highly skilled Java developers for the companies they have here available. Why not reaching out to them? Just, send an invitation for them here, connect with them, and start talking with them to see if they have something available for you. They might have something. So, and you can use the same technique for other companies. So there is also this Michael Page company. So let's see. So Michael Page, Argentina, for example, let's see. Then you can join and potentially you can ask them what jobs they have available. And there is another very nice website where you can find remote jobs. They don't necessarily share the salary, but anyway, it's a good company. It's a good website to search for remote jobs. And in this website, I'm pretty much sure that you can work from anywhere worldwide. So it's really good. You can have a look here. And in this website, you can use the technique of brute force. So you have to have an idea of how much they pay here. And then you just throw a very high value to them and see how it goes. Another way to negotiate with companies is to fix your LinkedIn profile. So sometimes you make a key change in our LinkedIn profile. So you remove obsolete technologies. You have more recommendations from other developers and other employers. And then you stand out on LinkedIn and recruiters start reaching out to you. So when you fix your LinkedIn profile and recruiters reach out to you, they negotiate with them and also try to make friends with recruiters because they are powerful allies. So basically the recruiters, the higher salary you can ask, the more commission they will get. Usually that's the case. So it's in their interest to know what is the ceiling of the salary you can ask with your current skills. So probably you're going to have a quick meeting with the recruiter. The recruiter will help you to fix your CV. The recruiter will help you during the negotiation process. And, it's a win-win situation. So sometimes the recruiter will be your ally, but, not every time that the recruiter will be your ally because, there might be a different package they negotiated with the company. So there might be something different. So don't fully trust a recruiter. And ideally, you should do all of those researches to find out what is really your true market value so that the companies don't dictate your salary, so that you know how much you should ask as a salary for the company you're negotiating with. To recap, you can use the following platforms. You can use Glassdoor, Indeed, Levels.fyi, PayScale. You can also use LinkedIn. So you can look for jobs in New York or Florida. You're going to be able to search for the salary range as well. Or Reddit. You can simply ask, hey, Reddit, how much a senior Java developer should earn working remotely for the US from a South America country? Like on Reddit, you're going to get a more precise information. And remember that in Glassdoor, for some reason, you're going to find something around 20 to 30% less from the real salary they pay in that location. You can also use the brute force technique, which is basically a technique where you throw a very high salary to the recruiter or to the company and you wait to see what is their reaction. Sometimes they'll say, hey, okay, let's go with that. Or some other times they're going to say, hey, I'm sorry, but this salary is too high. Can we go to the salary range? And then if you apply for, maybe 10 companies and you throw a high value and all of them say no, then you have a feeling of the markets that this salary you are asking, it's too high, right? And also keep in mind that the salary will vastly vary depending on the country you're living in. So obviously, third world countries, the salary is a lot lower. In countries where they were mostly communists, it's usually also, they usually a lower salary as well. So it depends on the country. So keep that in mind. For example, in Europe, there are countries that will pay, I don't know, something around 100K to 120K. And in other countries, they will pay something around 50K or 60K. Keep in mind that it depends on the location you're looking for the job. And the other important thing is to know how much you can ask as a salary. You can also ask a close friend what is their salary, and with your close friend, you can just be very direct. You don't need to say very much to them. You can also ask a developer who you don't know very well. You can use this way here to ask this developer. And you can use the same technique on tech events or meetups. You can ask recruitment agencies, and you can also fix your LinkedIn profile, and naturally recruiters will reach out to you to negotiate your salary. And also make friends with recruiters because they might be powerful allies to help you negotiate your salary, okay? And that's pretty much it, Challenger. I'm going to leave a link so that you can fill out a form in the description of this video. And on this form, and after you fill out this form, you're going to get the mind map. You're going to get the mind map link where you're going to have access to the information so that you can figure out how much of a salary you can ask as a Java developer. Okay? So that's pretty much it. Don't forget to click the link below in the form and download and fill out the form. It's a very easy form. Like, you're going to take less than 3 minutes to fill this out, and you're going to get access to this mind map. Okay? So thank you so much for being here, Java Challenger, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm going to see you in the next live that will be made on next Tuesday at 10 p.m. London time. And don't forget to be on Zoom, because this live, I will give you the opportunity to be on Zoom with me. So that's pretty much it. Thank you so much, Java Challenger, and I'll see you in the next one.